Hello YouTubers and welcome to Frugal Finance. Today we're going to have a quick look at golf stocks. So golf has had a bit of a resurgence since the first lockdown, to be honest. People have come out in their numbers to come and play golf, enjoy golf, become members, all that kind of stuff. But is golf, or the golf industry, a good stock or investment to make? So we're going to have a quick look at Callaway, who's one of the main players, but there are obviously other investments that you can have a look at within the golf industry. So whether or not you're an old school investor or you're new to it or you're kind of teal hat and hoodie type guy, it shouldn't really matter. Really what you need to do is analyze the actual stocks and the possibility for growth or for dividends or what type of investor you are. So with that said, please do not forget to smash the like button down below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. That really helps out the YouTube algorithm. They basically pumps the video off to other people who might be interested in these sort of things, whether you're a golfer or just an investor or looking to perhaps get a quick return on things. So that by smashing the like button and subscribing and commenting below, all those sort of interactive things, that really helps the video get out to a wider audience. So with that said, I'd just like to quickly remind you that I am just a guy on YouTube freezing his butt off on this nice beach environment here in a hoodie, basically talking to you about stocks and shares. So I'm not FCA registered. This is really just my journey, my information, my thoughts and opinions on things. So if you are thinking of investing, it's really important that you seek your own independent legal advice, information you gather. You should make decisions based on your own personal preferences. Don't follow me. So with that said, let's jump on in. So before we get started, don't forget to grab yourself a hot drink or a beer, whatever it is you like, or some fizzy water. So first thing we do is nip on over to Simply Wall Street, because that gives you a kind of good professional overview of any company. So we're going to obviously have a quick analysis of Callaway, who are one of the sort of golf industry's leading brands. There are various other ones, but these are sort of independent to some degree. I mean, there's like TaylorMade and so on, and although I think they've recently been sold, they were part of the Adidas group. So this obviously here, Simply Wall Street, which I've touched on before, I quite like this kind of snowflake analysis if you want to just have a quick kind of overview, and you can see it's a kind of a blobbed effect, and basically those are kind of the sort of simplistic overview of the company. So you can see it's got it's reasonably healthy in terms of its balance sheet. It's got future potential, but obviously dividend and value are right down. Well, they're not paying a dividend, so that's kind of as it should be, really. Value is obviously not looking too great, so we'll come on to that as well. And then past performance, it's not looking too great. You've got to remember that obviously the golf industry itself, until coronavirus really, was on a bit of a downward decline as a general sport, because obviously it's quite time consuming, quite time hungry, practicing, doesn't really fit with modern life, and really has a bit of an image problem as well. So as an actual sport and an industry, it was on a bit of a downcline, but obviously coronavirus has come along, and it's one of the only sports that has sort of suited coronavirus distancing and social distancing restrictions, really, because it's an outdoor sport, it's a singular sport. In theory, you don't touch each other's equipment, so it's actually really lends itself to these sort of measures that we've had. As you know, with Simply Wall Street, you can just basically scroll through the analysis. Obviously, you've got your stock share price there, and you can see obviously it's gone up significantly since May 2020. So kind of this time last year, over the last year, it was like £10, and now obviously we're trading as high as dollars, not pound. Obviously we've got 7-day returns here, 2%. Obviously it's quite a big increase after the big dip from last year. That's pretty normal to see. shareholder returns here. You've got obviously 2% over the last 7 days. Over the last 30 days, obviously it's down 4%, but over the last year up 100%. And then long-term price versus volatility. Obviously, they're saying the market is very, very volatile at the moment. I would say that is probably because, obviously, as we exit the restrictions and hopefully life starts to turn back to normal, obviously, it may be that people haven't got the money or haven't got the time, and they revert back to, perhaps the downward trend that we were used to for the last few years. And then really the most important thing here is the Simply Wall Street overall value. So it's actually given a 1 out of 6, and they, in their opinion, anything over about $10 a share is overvalued in a sense. So their analysis of the company is it's quite overvalued at the moment, and that is probably because a lot of people have jumped on board in reality because of these the kind of mini boom in golf, if you like. So one would argue it's probably not a good time to buy in, unfortunately, for Callaway. They're probably likely unfortunately to go down from here if you analyse all of the stock, the price to earnings ratio, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's a very useful analysis, Wall Street, and but please do have a look at this if you're thinking about investing into Callaway. I'm not saying it's a bad investment. I think they're probably a stable company. They've been around for a long time. They've got a big market cap, but I think at the moment they are a bit overvalued, so you just need to be careful with that. So flipping over onto Trading 212, obviously we can have a look at the stock here. So we've got the analysis over the last week. Obviously it's slightly down, but if you go over the last month or so, those are pretty much normal for stocks at this point in time. They've had a bit of a fluctuating time, but obviously over a sort of 3 month or a year long period, you'll see that we went as low as $15 back in November. And then they've gone up. This obviously here, you'll see this line that goes across here. That is because they weren't available on Trading 212. That's not because they weren't in the stock market. It's just not available on this. And obviously you've got standard company details, a little bit of a write-up about Callaway, what they do if you don't know. And then obviously here we got employees, CEO details, market cap, all that kind of stuff. Dividends, obviously they're not doing them at the moment, but they did them in the past. I'm untoo sure. Maybe someone could comment below. So yeah, it's a pretty stable company, but not a particularly good time to buy in. And I would say this is probably key here. If you look at this Trading 212 price back here in November, it was at $15. Obviously you've had this massive ramp up, and then at the moment things are sort of dipped and then plateaued off, and they're all a bit kind of bumpy really, and I don't see personally that continuing on an upward trend. I suspect that will probably come down, and I wouldn't be surprised if it settles around this sort of $22 mark here, but we shall see. You never know with these things. Obviously, no one would have predicted that it would have had such a big boom probably 2 years ago. I mean, golfing as an industry, as I said, was struggling, so everything's a bit turned on its head at the moment. But if you say that we revert back to type, it would be likely to see a downward trend in that price. So hopefully that gives you a nice insight into what the stocks and shares and industry in a whole is doing for the golf industry. So with that said, please do smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, notification bell, comment below, all that kind of stuff. And if you're going to play golf tomorrow, please do enjoy yourself, have a nice day out, and I shall see you next time.